120 people from international and national community groups attended a climate action conference in Lep on Monday. Ryan Howard explains its significance.
We're at the end of our get out of jail card options here for communities in terms of climate change. Today's conference is all about giving communities an opportunity to share what they're doing, to learn from each other, and also to prepare for the future, to look at actions that they can undertake and encourage more communities and more people within the communities to do the right thing when it comes to climate change. And that includes simple biodiversity actions, areas where we can work together in terms of climate change, in terms of carbon footprint, and in terms of how we can help each other out in terms of addressing what is coming to us.
What is coming to us?
We see it in terms of weather. We see it in terms of what's happening with fuel. We see what's happening in terms of, I suppose, where the future is in terms of food. We've got to think about this in the context of where we're getting things from and how we're using the resources around us. This is so important that we do it now, not wait.
What are you recommending? What can be done?
To listen, to act. I suppose to listen and plan and to act. To not do anything, not wait for, like, governments are talking and governments can do, but unless, and a lot of this is about the bottom up, about working from the bottom up, not just waiting for the top down, because when the top down happens, there are gaps. The bottom up can actually achieve it if we can push and push now to develop those.
Christopher O'Sullivan, Fianna Fáil spokesperson on climate action, had this to say.
What I want to get across, and what's a really hard message to sell in certain quarters, is that I look at it as death to global warming by 1,000 cuts, if that makes sense. That every single small measure, no matter how small it is, can make a huge impact. And that's something that we have to do, and that's why I think there should be more focus and room for community-led initiatives within the Climate Action Plan and within government strategy, so that we can support communities like you.
The spokesperson on climate action managed to name-check most of the 25 community groups in the room who are already actively working on climate action projects, as well as biodiversity schemes within their own communities. Ronnie Whelan explained the actions taken by island communities.
Islanders live very close to nature already. So when you're trying to promote environmental projects and stuff like that, they don't see it as with the same urgency as everywhere else. But I suppose with extreme weather events and with energy crisis and with everything else, they're seeing that they may have to change tack a little bit, continue with the traditional environmentally friendly methods, but yet engage with new technologies as well. And to that end, a lot of them have their social or their sustainable energy communities on their master plans.
And what are they doing?
They're retrofitting houses and PV solar panels and heat pumps, because they not only energy crisis affects everyone in the country, but if you're an island, all your fuel has to be brought onto the island. You're talking about cargo expense as well as the environmental impacts of it, and the general cost of heating your home or fuel.
Christopher O'Sullivan said towns like Skibbereen, Clonakilty and Bandon have had millions spent on flood defence systems, and places like Bantry is in need of a similar system because of extreme weather events. But he believes that with support, communities have the potential to be low carbon economies. The TD spoke about protecting biodiversity under the Constitution and also the backlash to events like the massive gorse fires that took place.
Because I spoke to many farmers who, in particular, absolutely embrace the idea of protecting biodiversity, but it's the voices of a small few who are, I suppose, disproportionately giving a different narrative. And a perfect example of that is that we would have all been witness to the gorse fires around West Cork in February, and there was an outcry and there was an outrage around the public. And being a public representative who called it out, those very few who had no disregard for the guidelines or had no regard for the guidelines or the law, there was a backlash, but not from the general public, not from most farmers who I spoke to, but just a few.